one more time to Real Shame. It's a show where the two of us talk about our list of movie blind spots. My name is Andy.
And I'm Adam.
And last time we talked about a movie that I had not seen before. It is considered a prequel to the Transformers series of films that are directed by Michael Bay. We talked about Bumblebee. We're taking it back 11 years prior to Bumblebee, looks like, for another Transformers movie, appropriately enough called...
Transformers.
What? Transformers?
They're more than meet the eye.
Pork chop sandwiches.
Pork chop. Okay, Transformers, again, pulling this from IMDb. An ancient struggle between two Cybertronic races. Are they different races? The heroic Autobots and the evil Decepticons come to Earth with the clue for the ultimate power held by a teenager, and that's Transformers. Transformers came out in 2007. It is written by Roberto Orci and Alex Kurtzman. You'll know them from Star Trek 2009 and John Rogers. And it's written by Michael Bay himself.
Directed by Michael Bay.
Yeah. Sorry. Directed by Michael Bay. Michael Bay has directed 5 of the 6 movies. I think he's directing Rise of the Beast, right?
I have no idea.
I'm sure he is. So this is a Michael Bay directed film. It stars Shia LaBeouf as Sam Witwicky, Megan Fox as Michaela Baines. We got Josh Duhamel as Captain Lennox, Tyrese Gibson from the Fast and Furious franchise as Tech Sergeant Epps. We got a bunch of people. We got Rachel Taylor, which you'll see a little bit later on in Jessica Jones. She plays her half-sister, I believe. Mm-hmm, yeah. We have John Voight, Anthony Anderson, and John Turturro, the Jesus, in this movie. Right? I believe so. From Big Lebowski.
From Big Lebowski, right.
Okay. This is a movie we've both seen before, maybe a couple times. But since it's your week, I'm going to toss it over to you. And I'm going to ask you, what do you think of Transformers? And then where do you think this falls into the Michael Bay directed Transformers?
Okay. So Transformers, we talked about this on Monday. Transformers is not a cartoon that I really watched much growing up, or really at all. I was more of a G.I. Joe guy, as I mentioned then. But when the Transformers movie came out in 2007, I was actually very curious to how they would do a live-action Transformers. I had never, and still have never, seen the Transformers animated film that has the touch. You got the touch in it. But I was curious to see the Transformers, so I actually did go to the theater to see this. Yes, I came out of my cave, hermit that I sometimes am, came out of my cave and I went to the theater to see Transformers back in 2007. I hated it. I absolutely hated it in 2007. Watching it 14 years later, I hate it still. I hate all of the Transformers movies, to be honest with you. I didn't like Bumblebee, but I think Bumblebee is the best. Out of it, that's damning with faint praise. They set like a
low bar for you.
That's damning with faint praise. Yeah, but I don't like any of the Transformers movies. To me, they're all kind of the same film, and they're all obnoxious and loud and you know, Michael Bay his movies are kind of obnoxious and loud. So Michael Bay made Bad Boys back in 1995, which clocks in just shy, according to IMDb, it's 1 hour and 59 minutes. And apparently after that film, Michael Bay, like Scarlett O'Hara, stood there and said, "As God is my witness, I will never make a movie under 2 hours again." I think that's what Scarlett O'Hara said back in Gone with the Wind. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that. But he said, "I will never make a movie under 2 hours again." And he never has. Every movie that he's made since then is over 2 hours, sometimes well over 2 hours. And every single one of these Transformers movies is well over 2 hours. And they are exhausting. As you said on when we talked about Bumblebee, the action scenes are just cacophonous, loud. You don't know what the hell is going on half the time.
Yeah, they're indecipherable. It's just...
Yeah.
things moving.
I mean, so I watched all the Transformers movies, the five that there are. I watched Bumblebee. I watched them all in 4K. They look great in 4K. They sound great on my sound system, but after a while, it's just sound and fury signifying nothing. I think I've used that before, as Faulkner said. And which comes from Shakespeare. But yeah, I'm not a fan. It's not just the big, loud obnoxiousness. I don't like half of the characters in this film. I think Anthony Anderson, irritating, super irritating.
He's playing like the worst stereotype of a nerd.
Yeah,
it's like, okay, what do we do? He lives with his grandmother, all this kind of.
Yeah, I found Tyrese irritating. I found John Turturro's Agent Simmons irritating. But the most irritating character of all is Shia LaBeouf. I feel like Shia LaBeouf is obnoxious, irritating. You know, bringing up Baby, you said Katharine Hepburn stressed you out the whole movie. Shia LaBeouf stresses me out in these movies. Really He's just so manic and I'm just like, just stop already.
I feel like he's trying to do his own shtick and his own jokes and just like,
And it's just, he's so irritating. I did watch the entire film. I sat there, I watched it, and just like I watched all the others just to see how they were, and because I happen to have a copy of all of them in 4K, and I will never watch these films again. I can't stand this film series. Transformers is just not for me. Yeah. I find, again, I didn't like Bumblebee, but compared to the Michael Bay films, it's a masterpiece. Yeah. I think the Transformers films suck. I think they stink. I think they're awful. I think they're irritating, and I hate them. You?
So we disagreed with Bumblebee, but we agree with this.
Yeah.
I'm with you. I don't hate the Transformer movies. They're just not good.
Yeah.
And it's frustrating that Michael Bay has spent the last 6 movies he's worked on, including Rise of the Beast.
Yeah.
Rise of the Beast, I think, is the next one in this, because they're not good. Like we've said, it's just the action is indecipherable. It's just a bunch of things happening on there. The Transformers look terrible. Like, it's just like the whole bunch of parts going together and stuff like that. Like, it's rendered well, but it just doesn't have any artistic creativity to it. In my book, it's terrible. The movie just feels like a 13-year-old boy wrote it. It just feels juvenile. The humor's juvenile. It's just not funny. It has, this like sexism to it that, Michael Bay kind of does, but it just seems really apparent in this movie. It just feels juvenile. It feels like a kid is writing and directing this, like a kid playing in the toy box with all this stuff. Michael Bay is a good director, and there are some interesting shots, and he does some interesting things with the camera in this movie. Like, he does the Bad Boys 2 shot where the camera circles around. He does a lot of under the legs where the Transformers are larger than life. Those look great. Travis Knight took those ideas and implemented them better, in my opinion, than Michael Bay did, because his movie is not indecipherable, right? You can actually tell what's going on in it. Right. But I think Agent Simmons is weird. He's just like, does this guy really work for the government? No one in the government acts like that. Shia LaBeouf is just, I don't see anything rewarding in this portrayal of anything. I don't see how Megan Fox would find him remotely attractive or interested. He just seems like a weird science experiment just let loose on the class or whatever. Josh Duhamel is okay. I mean, he is in the backseat of the whole movie, and he kind of does what he needs to do, which is like the kind of the military leader kind of stuff. Yeah. I'm with you on the Anthony Anderson. He's terrible. John Voight is the Secretary of Defense. He's just kind of like, we talked about this in Armageddon, and there's a lot of times Michael Bay would eschew story over reality. So like things like Rachel Taylor sneaking in to that room of all the, the Joint Chiefs or whoever it is, the military leaders. Wouldn't happen in real life. But of course, it stands for it in this movie. And then John Voight brings her along and all that kind of stuff. It's terrible. These movies are terrible. And I know for the longest time, people that love the Transformers were like grasping onto these movies because they were like live action Transformer movies, but they're not good. They're not good.
Yeah. Well, they're just exhausting.
Yes.
They're just exhausting.
So I was telling you this, I fall asleep during these movies because it's just so cacophonous. It just you
just shut down.
Yeah, I shut down. It's just like, because there's nothing for me to focus on. There's nothing for me to pull me in. It's just like all this action's kind of happening in front of me, and I'm just like, I just zone out and just, zone out.
It's funny you mentioned Rachel Taylor as being a Jessica Jones. I don't know that I've seen her in anything besides Jessica Jones, and it's been so long since I've seen the Transformers. Of course, I forgot that she was even in it. And she is Australian in real life, and she uses her natural accent in this movie, and it's thick. I mean, she's like, "Hey, can you hack into this computer and patch it through?" I'm like, "Whoa!" She has a really, really Australian accent, and it's just such a departure from Jessica Jones because she speaks with an American accent in Jessica Jones. But yeah, she's like, "Hi," I really did expect her to be like, "Let's throw another shrimp on the barbie, mate." I mean, she's got a super thick. It's beautiful. I love it. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. It was kind of jarring to me when she started talking. I expected the Jessica Jones voice to come out, and she's just like, "Hello, how you doing?" I was like, "Whoa." All right.
I will say on these Transformer movies, it's been said that Michael Bay doesn't really care about story or about the plot making sense, and even with like the latest movies, they kind of really don't fit into the universe of these movies. Excluding Bumblebee, but I'm talking about the Last Night or the one right after it. Yeah. The Dinobots one doesn't really make sense in the term of everything. I've heard, but Michael Bay doesn't care because he just wants a visual feast for your eyes, and I'm telling you now. Story matters. Like you could throw as much whiz bangs on the screen, and they don't mean a thing if you don't care about the characters in the movie. And Michael Bay has directed good movies where we care about the characters. Pain and Gain, Bad Boys, The Rock. That's about it.
I liked Armageddon.
Yeah. And we care about the characters, and they're not all about the whiz bang and stuff like that. So, just all that kind of stuff. Like. The thing that kind of drove me crazy this time watching it was that so the plan is for Optimus Prime, if they can't get the cube away from Megatron or whatever, that he's going to destroy it by putting it into his chest, right? Mm-hmm. But Sam Witwicky puts it into Megatron's chest, and at the end, Optimus Prime's like, "Good job, we did it, we completed the plan." I'm like, that wasn't the plan. It's like never once did it occur to Optimus Prime that, hey, if we stick this chest, it'll destroy me. So why don't we just do that to the bad guy and destroy him? It just never. I know the sequels happen and it doesn't kill Megatron, but hey, this was a standalone movie when it was first thought of, right?
Yeah.
So I will say that that doesn't make it. That drove me crazy this time around. And I hate the way the cars look and all that stuff. I just I like cars, but it's just like the cars are just too flashy for this movie. I don't know. I'm with you. I don't know if I hate it, but
we're firmly on the same page. I can't stand these movies. They're so blah.
I'm surprised you watched the rest of them.
Because I bought like the collection and it was dirt cheap for like a Black Friday deal. And I got the collection and I've never seen any of the rest of them. So I thought, you know what? I'm just going to knock them all out and I'm going to watch Bumblebee. I watched every movie in the Transformers franchise. Whew, it was rough.
So I keep on adding things on. Martin Scorsese has said that he doesn't like superhero movies because he thinks they're just like roller coasters and he doesn't think there's any characterizations in it. In my head, what Martin Scorsese thinks of a superhero movie is he sees this movie. And this is what it is. This is childish. It is immature. It is just a bunch of like things flashing at you. This is your theme park cheap thrills of a ride of a movie. And that's what I think, and this is not what movies could be. They could be a lot more and a lot better. And we've talked about a few of those on the show. Yeah. So that clicked in my head real quick.
It's funny you say that. I agree completely. I mean, I think this is what Martin Scorsese means when he talks about those movies, and it could be directly applied to the Transformers franchise, excluding, in your case, Bumblebee. And I mean, I don't lump Bumblebee in with the rest of these Transformers movies. It's a lot better than those.
I mean, it's like a palate cleanser at this point. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Go on.
So none of these movies are fresh except Bumblebee. Bumblebee's the only Transformers movies that's fresh on Rotten Tomatoes. This particular, the first film, is 58% fresh. They only go down from here. It's 85% audience score, though. Roger Ebert did give it thumbs up.
Yeah.
And Leonard Maltin gave it 2.5 stars.
Did you know the budgets for Transformer and Bumblebee are pretty close to the same?
Mm-mm. I don't know.
Yeah, so they were both shot for about the same amount of money.
I also read that they have talked about doing a Transformers GI Joe crossover. Have you heard that?
No, but I don't know. That leading into our question.
Yeah.
I will ask you this. I'll say the viewer's question. I'm going to ask you this. So the viewer's question is, from a game, board game, or toy, what are your favorite movies, or a favorite movie that is based on a toy? And we're grouping in board games on this.
Yeah.
I will say that I don't like any of the GI Joe movies. They're not good.
Yeah. There's two, right?
Yeah. There's
And now there's
Rise
Snake
of
Eyes.
Cobra
Yeah.
and first GI Joe movie.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't like them either. I saw them both. I didn't like them either.
So I don't think.
I thought they were better than the Transformers movies, but that's not saying much.
Yeah. All
Yeah.
right. So So what I know what mine is. So what is your favorite movie that's based on a toy or board game?
Transformers. Psych.
Oh, no.
Yeah, no, yeah, pulled a fast one. Absolutely not. Yeah, so we're kind of looking through the list of movies that are based on board games, toys, whatever. You mentioned Lego movies. I'd say those are up there. I mean, I kind of lump Lego Movie 1 and 2 and Lego Batman all kinds together.
Ninjago.
They're all good. I haven't seen Lego Ninjago, but if it's as good as the others, sure. But yeah, I like those movies, but just purely for nostalgia's sake, I'm gonna say, and this is another like toy that I think I had one or two of the toys, kind of like Transformers, but this movie is just good, cheesy, fun. A good time is had by all whenever I watch it in my household, and it is Masters of the Universe with Dolph Lundgren himself.
I have the power.
He does have the power. And I think it's Frank Langella is Skeletor, and it's got like Courtney Cox in it.
It's got one of those Japanese synthesizers.
It's just a fun,
Are you a song maker?
silly 80s movie, Masters of the Universe. So that would be my pick for
Canon Films' own.
Because like you said, I mean, G.I. Joe and some of the other stuff we saw on the list, they just don't do it for me. So I wouldn't even put those as honorable mentions because I just didn't care for them.
I agree.
And what is your...
So for me, I agree with you 100% with Master Universe. I agree with you on the Lego movies of the ones I've seen. I also haven't seen Ninjago. Once we grouped board games into this, there's a bright and shiny standout for me.
Battleship, which we did earlier on the show.
It's not Battleship, although I did change my tune on Battleship during that watch.
Yeah.
So watch that. For me, it's Clue. I love Clue. It's a movie I probably revisit once a year. It is awesome. It's an awesome movie. I will say, I just listened to a review earlier on a movie that's coming out called Werewolves Within, and they say it has a lot of the Clue DNA in it, so that made me even more excited to see that movie, and that's based off a VR game. So for me, I love Clue. Used to quote Clue in the lunchroom, like at the table, we'd be like, 1 + 2 + 1 + 1. 2 + 1 + 2 + 1.
Was anybody sitting near you, or did you drive them all away?
No, that's what we did. That was our stick. Was the stop it?
Oh, you're just doing it by yourself because everybody else is like, we ain't sitting with that guy. He quotes some nerdy movie. No.
Armageddon's upon us. It's already here. Your lives are, or your souls are in danger. Our lives are in danger. You beatnik. Yeah,
I can't quote it along with you. I haven't seen it
great
that much.
So for me, it's cool.
I was going to say, that came out when it came out in the theater. It had 3 endings. Have we discussed this on the show before? It had 3 endings, right? And so it was just kind of random which ending your local theater had, right? But then when you watched it on home video, they had all 3 endings at the end. Yeah, so that's a cool thing in itself. I always thought, it's neat. They don't really do stuff like that anymore, right?
No, I want to say didn't they try to do something like that with Wayne's World 2? I know Wayne's World 2 has a bunch of different endings. I don't know if they try to do it at different theaters.
I know they had to cut out the Stairway to Heaven stuff. Like that's not that's due to rights. That's not on the home video release. It may be on the VHS, but it's not on like the DVD or Blu-ray. Something like that. I could be wrong, but I think at least on the Blu-ray, on the most recent release, it's not Stairway that he's playing.
Interesting.
Yeah, because they couldn't do that. Right. Normally that happens with TV shows. Like they can't get the rights, but that usually doesn't happen with movies. But in this case, it does. But yeah, I guess. Nowadays they've got things like the Black Mirror where you can like choose your own kind of thing.
Yeah, the Bandersnatch.
Bandersnatch. They're kind of trying to do that sort of thing. But yeah, I think that's cool that Clue had the 3 endings.
Yep, same here.
Yeah, neat stuff.
All right, guys, is that it? So let us know what your favorite movie based on toy or board games are. It could be Ouija. It could be Ouija Shark. that we just
Yes.
did. I mean,
Yeah.
hey,
Don't
we
use
just
the gun as a planchette.
Yeah, we sharks up there, guys, and all that kind of stuff. Let us know if you're watching us on YouTube. Leave a comment down below. If you're listening to us, shoot us an email, realshame@gmail.com. That's also where we answer viewer questions that are sent to us. So please send us your viewer questions. We need some more of those. We would appreciate that. Please like, subscribe, share, leave comments, do all that social media stuff because it really does help spread the word of the show, and we really do appreciate that. And stay tuned next week as we watch some movies from my list of shame, and we'll see you soon, guys. Bye.